Welcome to the series of lecture in computer architecture course. In the previous few lectures, we have learned the building the data path for MIPS processor with respect to the instruction fetch stage and then decoding stage with respect to R-type instruction, memory reference instruction, and then branch instruction. Now, in this particular video lecture, we will consolidate all the corresponding data path functional units, and we will be constructing the entire data path for the MIPS single cycle implementation with respect to supporting all the instructions and as well as ALU control and the main control units. So this how we are going to integrate everything, okay, right? So we know that we are going to implement with respect to execution with respect to one clock cycle, single clock cycle, right? Each data path element can only do one function at a time, so only one function can be done with respect to each data path element at a particular unit of time. Now we have separated the instruction and data memories for this single cycle implementation. Now what we need to do is we need to use some data selectors, okay, because the various function units are fed with respect to multiple inputs. Which particular input is to be fed to that particular functional unit is to be decided. So for deciding that, we are going to employ different multiplexers in between those multiple sources of data. For example, we know that from the registers, okay, from the register for R-type instruction, we will be reading both register values using the read data 1 port and read data 2 port, okay. But if it is going to be a I-type instruction where that is a 16-bit offset is present within the instruction and it is converted into 32-bit data using a sign extension unit. Now there are two sources of input for this ALU. Now the ALU should be fed either one of these input, right? Either from the register set or from the sign extension unit. So to decide that, we will be using this multiplexer here. So what is this multiplexer? This multiplexer will be controlled by the corresponding control signal ALU SRC, which is called as ALU source, right? So if it is 0 means then the input from the read port 2, okay, register read data 2 will be fed to the ALU, or if it is 1, the 32-bit sign extended value will be fed into the ALU. So this is the use of this multiplexer. Similarly, if you see after the data memory, okay, so if it is going to be the result should be stored into the register, or the data memory, from the data memory it should be stored into the register. So two ways it is possible, okay, using for load word instruction or simply the R-type instruction where the result should be stored into the register. So here also two different data is emerging. To decide that if it is going to be memory to register, the control signal for this multiplexer will be 1, where the corresponding value read from the data memory will be stored into the register, right? Otherwise, the multiplexer control signal is 0. If it is 0 means the result that is obtained from the ALU will be stored into the register in this particular path, okay. So this is the different multiplexers we are really employing for initiating or feeding the corresponding inputs correctly to the. So this is going to be the full data path, okay, with respect to the until the branch instruction which you have implemented, right? So this particular part is PC with respect to adder. So for PC is equal to PC plus 4. This is instruction memory. This is register set, and this multiplexer just now we have understood what is the purpose. And this shift left 2, we know that this is going to be used for word displacement during the branch target, computing the branch target address. And then this is going to be the data memory, and this multiplexer is used for storing the result, either the direct result from the ALU during normal arithmetic operation, or reading from the data memory when we are going to execute load word instruction. So this is the entire data path until this. Right, now what is the controls? So a control logic is to be implemented. Okay. So what does the control? What will be the input to the control logic? For example, if you consider the R format instruction, okay, from the opcode field, if all the opcode field 6 bits are 0, okay, the control logic will determine that it is a R format instruction. Okay, then comes your RS, RT, RD, and then SHM, shift amount, and then function field. So this function field and the opcode field will be the input to the control logic. Okay, these two will be the input to the control logic. So the function field only present in R format instruction, right? For R format instruction only the field will be present. Okay. So to simplify further, we are going to define another control unit called as ALU control unit. So what instead of this function field is given directly to control logic, only now what we will do is only we will be giving input to the main control unit, that is opcode. Okay. Now based upon the opcode, this ALU op signal will be initiated and it will be controlling the ALU control unit. Okay, the output from the main control unit is ALU operation. Along with the ALU operation, one more input to the ALU control is a function field. So whatever the bits that is available in the function field is directly given to the ALU control. So if opcode field is all 6 bits, right, then this ALU op will be initiated. Okay, so that the arithmetic operation should be done. Okay, so along with this function field, the ALU control determines what is the correct operation should be performed, whether it is a logical shift, logical operation, or arithmetic, that is addition or subtraction. Okay, so this is the simple scheme with which we are going to utilize the main control unit and the ALU control unit using the corresponding inputs. Then ALU control. So the ALU control is a 4-bit control unit. Okay, so for load store, we need to perform the functionality addition, right? For load store, that is adding the base register and the offsets. Similarly, during the branch instruction, the ALU operation is subtract. Okay, so and R type instruction, it depends on the function field. Okay, so these are all the necessary control signals, different bit patterns for the corresponding function. So if ALU control input bit is all zeros, then it is AND function. If it is 0001, it is OR function. Like that, different code bits are used to represent different functionalities. Now, if you are going to assume or consider 2-bit ALU op derived from the opcode combinational logic, that is from the main control unit, 2-bit. Okay, we are taking, that is used as a ALU op bits, ALU operation bits. So if that 2 bits are 00, it is termed as load word, and the ALU control is 0010, that 4 bit. Similarly, for store word also, the ALU operation is 00 and it is store word. And if you see both functionalities, we are going to perform addition, and the ALU control is 0010. For BEQ, branch on equal, okay, the ALU operation is 01. The function field is don't care field, and it is subtract operation we are going to perform. It is 0110. Similarly, for R type, the ALU operation 2-bit code is 10, and depending upon the function field, these functionality will change. Either it is addition, subtraction, AND operation, OR operation, or set and less than. Okay, so these are all the different ALU control bits for the respective ALU op bits. Right, now how the main control unit decides, okay, which type of instruction it is, right? So for R type instruction, we know that 26 to 31, that 6 bits is all zeros, and shift amount is also 0. So the remaining functionality, what operation should be performed, it is decided by the functional unit. Similarly, for load store instruction, either it can be a 35 or 43. So this is decimal value represented inside the box actually. So if it is 35, it is considered as load word, and if it is 43, it is considered as store word, and you are going to have the 16-bit offset address, right? Similarly, for branch instruction, the corresponding opcode value is 4. So in this way, for the fixed format of instruction, with respect to these fixed formats only, the main control unit decides what kind of instruction that is being fetched, okay, and what is the exact operation the processor it should be performed. So with respect to the data path with control, this is the entire diagram. So if you see that we have included all the necessary functional units that, so far we have learned, that is program counter, this adder, instruction memory, registers, the corresponding multiplexers, data memory, ALU, and this multiplexer, right? Now the blue colored signals or lines are the signals that is initiated from the control unit. So what is the input to the control unit? The opcode. So the instruction that is 26th bit to 31st bit, okay, that is called as opcode, okay. So that is given as the input to the control. So from this control input, what it decides, okay, there are several signals initiated from this control signal, okay. So what is that? Register destination. Register destination means that is one of the register is going to be return the result, okay, return the result, that is called as register destination. So for example, if you take the addition instruction, add $S1 $S2 $S3. So if it is thus the case, the destination register is S1, which will hold the values of the that is added, that is summed up values of the $S2 and $S3 registers. So that is the meaning of register destination. So this signal will be active during the course of that instruction. Similarly, the same thing, okay. So if we are going to use store word instruction from the memory to the register, that time also the register destination will be activated. So when are all those type of instruction which utilize the register destination, for those things we will be utilizing the register destination. Similarly, this branch instruction. So if the opcode field is 4, okay, if the opcode field is 4, it is determined as the branch instruction, right? So if it is a branch instruction, it is determined, and this is this signal is initiated and it is given as the one input to the AND gate. So if during the branch instruction, if the ALU operation is 0, this line will be activated. This line will get the output 1. So when both the values of output is 1, this multiplexer will be controlled so that we will be having the branch, we will be computing the branch target address. Okay, so that time the output from this adder will be taken, okay, and already this adder is produced PC is equal to PC plus 4. So already it is added with here, okay. This adder, it performs the addition of shift left 2 and as well as PC is equal to PC plus 4. So this output will be taken for calculating the branch target address. So in this way, the ALU, that is the comparison result, is fed through this output of 0 signal and it is given as the input to this AND gate. So this is the use of this branch control signal. Memory read. Memory read means from the data memory, if you are going to read any value, so that time it will be initiated, memory read, okay. And then memory to register. So memory to register means if you are going to transfer any data from the data memory to the register, that time this signal will be initiated. So it is directly controlled through this multiplexer. Then this thick blue line is a ALU operation. So that is 2 bit. ALU operation is 2 bit, that we have in the last slide, previous slide, we have seen the different codes for the 2 bit values. Then memory write. So if you are going to write the data into the data memory, this signal will be initiated, memory write. Then ALU SRC. This ALU SRC is the signal from the control signal to the corresponding multiplexer, right? That is ALU source. ALU source, either it should be taken from the directly from the register or through the sign extension unit. Okay, that is the reason for ALU source. And then finally register write. So this register write will be initiated or triggered when or asserted whenever the register destination is asserted. Okay, because this port should be asserted to write the values into the any of the registers in the register set. So this is the description about the entire control signal and the ALU control signal. Okay, right? So now we will be saying the execution, how the execution of R type instruction is taking place. So what are all the important things, right? So what is the value or what is the operation that is going to be performed by the ALU? So it depends on the function field. Okay, so function field, right? So if it is going to be the R type instruction, definitely the memory write is 0. We are not going to write anything from memory. Okay, so right, we are going to just perform the addition, and then that addition result is going to be fed back to the register, one of the destination register. Okay, right? So memory read is also 0, memory write is also 0, right? Then comes your memory to register. So memory to register is also 0, right? We are not going to read that is write anything from memory, right? Register destination is 1. Yes, definitely, because the final value should be stored in the register. Okay, and register write signal is also to be asserted. That is also 1, right? And PC source. Okay, PC source is also 0, because we are not going to use the corresponding branch instruction. It is arithmetic instruction, right? Then for load word instruction, if you see for load word instruction, ALU source is 1. Okay, so the operation is 0, that is 0. Okay, 2-bit ALU operation 0, 1. Then memory write is 0. Memory read will be 1, because we are going to read from the memory and we are going to store it into the register, right? Right. So that is thing. Memory to register is 1. Okay, register destination is 0, right? Register destination is 0. Reg write is 1. Okay. PCSRC is 0. So for store word instruction, ALU SRC is 1. Then operation is 0, 1. Memory write is 1. Memory read is 0. So memory to register, we will not consider that. The register destination is also not considered. Register write is 0. Right? PCSRC is also 0. Right? These are all the asserted signals for the store word. BEQ. ALU source is 0. Operation is 1, 1. Memory write is 0. Memory read is 0. Memory to register is also not considered. Register destination is also not considered. Register write is 0. But if it is equal, then 1 if it is 0. Okay, right? Both are equal, right? So that we need to take into account for BEQ, right? Then this diagram, entire data path which is extended to support the jump instruction. Previously, until now, we have seen up to branch instruction. So this diagram supports the execution of jump instruction also. What is the jump instruction format? It is the opcode 26 to 31 bit, and then remaining 26 bits are offset, that is address, target address, right? So that target address, if you see, it is given to the shift left 2 for word displacement, and subsequently it is added into the higher order bits. This PC is equal to PC plus 4 is added into the higher order bits, right? So this 26 bit is converted to 28 bit using the shift left 2, and after adding the PC plus 4 in the higher order bits, it becomes totally 32 bit. So it is given directly to this multiplexer, and already we are having PC is equal to PC plus 4 from this adder. Okay, so the branch target address will be calculated and it will be stored in the program counter. Okay, so the two sets of operation is done. This 26 bit value is shift lefted to give 28 bit, and higher order bit is added, 4 bit is added with PC equal to PC plus 4. So totally to get the 32 bit, and finally this value is added with the PC is equal to PC plus 4, and then the new value of PC is updated. Okay, this is the for jump, right? So how to identify jump instruction using the opcode, right? So for that, one additional control signal is generated here and it is given to the multiplexer here. So if the jump instruction is identified, this control signal will be asserted and this multiplexer will take the control, so that it will give the output by adding these two values. Okay, right? So jump uses word address. It will update the PC with concatenation of top 4 bits of the old PC, 26-bit jump address, right? So that is the thing we have explained with respect to the previous slide. So for this is the data path for the data path function units which are active for the during the execution of jump instruction, right? These green colored lines, right? So this is the entire diagram for OR type instruction. This is load instruction and this is branch on equal instruction. So the blue colored lines are representing the corresponding control signal lines, and this is the simple combinational logic for generating the corresponding signals, that is control signals. ALU of bits, branch, memory write, memory read, register write, memory to register, ALU SRC, and destination. Register destination. Okay, so this is how the corresponding control signals have been initiated or asserted depending upon the opcode bits, right? So this is the logic that is present with respect to the generation of or assertion or deassertion of the main control unit. So what is the problem associated with the single cycle design problem? Okay, so we are going to consider fixed period clock cycle for every instruction. Okay, so CPI is equal to 1. Clock cycles per instruction is 1. And if you see the cycle time determined by the length of the longest instruction. Okay, so if you see the data path, the load word instruction takes the longest path. So what are all the other instructions which can be executed within the lesser time? Okay, they will also be given the same clock cycle or clock cycle time for that of load word instruction. So what is that disadvantage here? It's all other instructions will be completing in shorter clock cycle, but even though they have been allocated the time that is necessary for execution of the load word instruction, the portion of the time that is not utilized by the other instruction is wasted. So that is a single disadvantage of single cycle data path. Okay, so resources are there, but we are not going to use it for that particular specific time because we are using single cycle data path, right? So this is the major problem with respect to or disadvantage considered with respect to the single cycle data path, right? So with this we have completed the building of data path for MIPS architecture using single cycle.